Welcome back to Starcross Kings, everybody. We had a bit of a 2-day break, but it is time for the festivities to resume. 21 challengers defeated by Luvnest at this point. 21 challengers, not including me, of course. And he is about to take on his 22nd. It is going to be Luvnest versus Francis. Luvnest playing as Oster in the south, Francis playing as Soviets in the north. We're going to see double Grenadier opening from Luvnest, double conscripts from Francis. And we've got Soviet Industry, Shock Rifle, Guard Motor against Spearhead, Jaeger Armor, Mobile Defense. So Luvnest switching things up a little bit. A lot of people accuse Luvnest of being all meta all the time, but as Axis, I think that's really not true. I think he quite frequently juggles his Oster loadout. I don't think I've seen him bring the same Oster loadout to the same series twice, or this at least 2 consecutive series twice, which is pretty impressive actually. He always plays it pretty safe. I'm expecting to see a Tiger this game if things get a little, you know, tough. But he's willing to experiment a little bit. Conscripts heading right, and Pios are moving up into the green cover position over here. Conscripts will catch some sort of a medium range before they close the distance, and there's the first model drop, so Conscripts easily win that engagement. Luvnest will be forced to retreat from that. Grenadiers heading right to get some territory there, and this squad is taking control of the south fuel. Meanwhile, Francis grabbing the north fuel, grabbing the left side victory point, and then immediately retreating. So we might be looking at tier 1 from Francis this game. Maybe throw an M3 out, give him a slightly more mobile force.
Conscripts under attack! This now belongs to the people and workers of the Soviet Union.
Conscripts running straight into close range on these Grenadiers. Do lose a model on retreat, but get a great volley on arrival. Still look like they might be maybe losing the engagement. More Grenadiers arriving to support here. More Conscripts arriving to support here. This squad's going to have to retreat first, though. This Grenadier squad will probably also have to retreat. It looks like the engagement's going to go to Luvnest, but hard to say. Until support arrives, the engagement will definitely go to Luvnest. There's tier 2 actually in production. 3 conscripts into tier 2 plus Molotov research. Molotov research will be late for this engagement, unfortunately. He does not have access to those to turn that engagement in his favor, so he will be forced to retreat right there. And Luvnest is going to take this opportunity to head right and get the munitions and strategic points under control over here. These conscripts are taking control of the victory point. Couple squads making their way back towards the center. And these conscripts in yellow cover probably not going to be able to win an engagement against 2 Grenadiers, especially if caught on the move at range. One of them dropped immediately.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Molotov toss doesn't do anything, and the squad will be forced to retreat. Looks like they'll get away though. Grenadiers don't get any particularly good RNG on that retreating squad. They should be fine. Luvnest does get control of the right side munitions point back, and he's thrown up some barbed wire right here to make it harder to harass. Meanwhile, tier 2 is complete and a Maxim is on the field. And 1 squad of combat engineers is heading left to get munitions and strategic points under their control. 1 squad of conscripts plus Maxim are going to encounter that barbed wire and not be able to get through. This squad, making its way center, will get pushed back into the base by these 2 Grenadiers. If they don't throw up some green cover or something to hold the line, they might lose control of this fuel point, which would be extremely bad.
Squad under attack! Pioneers reporting objective captured. Pioneers reporting objective captured. Our headquarters has been improved. We can now build.
Yes, Romeo has partnership at last. Thank you, Camillo. Enjoy the glorious quality options. Actually, I boosted the bitrate a little bit and frame rate, so people with high internet speeds and low internet speeds alike will benefit, is the hope. This Grenadier blob in the middle is going to easily win against this lone harassment attempt. Maxim setting up should be able to defend the fuel as long as it doesn't get rifle grenaded to death or anything. Luvnest has a little bit of spare munitions. No LMGs upgraded yet. He has gone tier 2, building in his base right now. And a combat engineer squad is going to circle around, try and harass the fuel, but probably get pushed away by this squad of grenadiers. There's the rifle grenade. That'll exhaust most of Luvnest's munitions, but force the retreat and open up an opportunity to take control of this fuel. MG42 on the field will rotate to push away the combat engineers right there.
Replacements have arrived.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Enemy squad has us sighted.
The enemy is taking
Grenadiers taking control of the north fuel point. This LMG Grenadier squad taking control of the strategic point over here.
With the enemy. What do you have for us?
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Always been awful for you, now it's amazing. Alright, good to hear, Jack A. I'm really happy about that. Conscripts trying to oorah straight into the machine gun. Both squads get suppressed. Nice target switching by Luvnest. Molotov toss right there forces Luvnest to reposition, but he's not going to retreat. And he has gone half-track out of his tier 2 structure, which is making its way to pick up these Pyos on its way to the front line. Might throw a Minesweeper or Flamethrower out on these. Either way, he's had really good map control and general vision of his opponent's movements, so he may not feel a need for a Minesweeper. There aren't any mines anywhere anyway. Pyos are actually going to circle left. There's the Minesweeper. Alright. And wow, there's probably the only mine Francis has planted this game. Luvnest sends his Minesweeper to the left side where he knows his opponent's combat engineer squad has been all game. Sweeps up that mine. Nice sweep. Grenadiers taking control of the north fuel point here, and these Pyos are throwing down a Teller mine on the right side. Which is probably good because Francis has gone industry, although having lost control of both fuel points just as he's hitting 3 CPs and he isn't in a great manpower situation. Might be one of the worst things he could possibly have done. That will make it probably impossible to win this game, honestly. He's going to have to wait a little while to get his tier 3 up, and then when he does, he'll be probably throwing out a T-70, which has a pretty good chance of immediately hitting that Teller mine. I don't know, it'll depend on the usage of this Minesweeper.
Stop building. Stop knocking.
MG42 suppresses that squad. Doesn't look like Luvnest is going to lose control of this battlefield anytime soon. MG42 does not quite get this flank suppressed though. Here come the Molotovs, but I don't think it matters. 2 squads of conscripts are not going to be able to force a retreat on this massive army, which is just going to reinforce right here by this half-track, and these conscripts are bleeding manpower for no real gain, and manpower bleed is extremely costly as Soviet industry. Maxim is going to make an attempt to get the fuel point back. Luvnest has munitions for 1 rifle grenade and should probably be able to throw this back into the base. And with 63 munitions coming in, he can rifle grenade all day long, makes no difference to him. Luvnest takes control of pretty much the entire map, including all 3 victory points, at 425 VPs. So Francis will be forced to try and beat a 425 victory point Axis victory in Game 2 if he's not able to break this containment, which thus far it does not really look like he's going to be able to. He's chosen industry, which severely hurts his manpower, and he just lost one of his 4 units, or 5 units. To that rifle grenade, bleeding manpower a lot on reinforcement costs, plus another 500 spent on base upgrades. So it's looking like this game is pretty much over. Small S-mine field cluster planted right there, but conscripts should be able to get control of this point. LMG Grens moving to counter will probably beat that now wounded conscript squad. Panzer Grenadiers on the field here as well. Still not that much anti-tank from Luvnest. When he goes with this strategy against Soviets, he doesn't get AT very quickly because there's no real reason to. It takes Soviets a long time to get their first tier 3 unit out. Industry will help though, of course. 23 fuel coming in despite having no map control. Thank you, Vladimir, for $1 donation. Makes Stalin proud, Francis. Molotov toss on those Grens. There's the retreat. Everything going hard left to try and recover some semblance of map control. Panzer Grenadiers moving to counter. We'll jump into this green cover position over here on the left side. These two squads take control of the strategic point. Continue their advance down the left. Luvnest up to 120 fuel and is going to go tier 3 himself. He has 42 fuel coming in against an industry player. Pretty good situation to be in. He looks like he's actually going to get his first tank out before Francis even gets out a light vehicle, which is pretty awful. Pretty awful as Soviet industry. So the victory point control will continue. The triple cap will continue. Francis brought down 340 victory points, and the clock's going to be ticking very quickly against him, and it doesn't look like there's anything he's going to be able to do about it unless Luvnest makes some sort of horrible error. Which I find rather unlikely. First series of the day, he's still quite fresh.
Items can now be built. Half tracks now retrofitted with anti-tank mines.
And Luvnest has chosen Jaeger armor. He might throw down some Regal mines or something with his half track. Maybe he's gonna go Elephant later. Oh yeah, there he goes. Regal mine right there. Panzer IV in production. He'll have access to recon and spotting scopes. And he will upgrade spotting scopes on his half track to give himself vision of what his opponent is doing. I help him to spot that mortar. Mortar is about to start firing. There's a stolen Maxim defending this fuel point. The MG42 is on the other flank, and there's still no tier 3 unit in production for Francis, who I guess is going to go straight for T-34, which he will pretty much have to do to beat this Panzer IV once it arrives.
Panzer IV is ready for battle.
Minesweeper squad grabbing everything over here on the left. Panzer Grenadier support protecting the victory point to keep that triple cap going against Francis, and it doesn't look like this containment's going to break. T-34 is in production and will hit the field almost exactly simultaneously with the Panzer IV thanks to the build speed increase. And here comes the last final hope for the Soviet side team. A lone T-34-76.
Experience is the best teacher.
Last desperate push for the fuel point. T-34 arriving at the same time as this Panzer IV. Pretty good opening hit on that flamethrower squad. Minesweeper gets wrecked by the Panzer IV immediately and wipes T-34 going in on the Panzer IV. They both penetrate each other. I don't think there are any very defensive mines. Panzer IV shot connects, T-34 shot completely off the target. And it looks like the engagement is already going in Luvnest's favor. Mortar trying to bombard some Grenadiers doesn't do all that much. T-34 just got its engine destroyed by a Panzerfaust from the front. Which means that Panzer IV will have no problem just driving right up and killing it. That is definitely the game if it wasn't game already. There's nothing Francis can do to save this tank. And that's pretty much GG. Flanking attempt over here on the left side, getting shut down by a Maxim. AT grenade on that half track's not really going to do anything. There goes the T-34, and Francis will surrender, giving Luvnest a 425-point Axis victory. Francis will be forced to try and top that in Game 2.